Hello, my name is Kenji, and I'm going to be talking about the Pequot War for my history project in 2023. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this wonderful video that I put together. During the 1600s, the Dutch discovered that Indians used stuff called wampum as a currency. The Pequots and Narragansett were already using this form of currency, and soon the British adopted it too. From 1630 to 1643, there was this thing called the Great Migration, where over 20,000 Englishmen, women, and children went over to the American colonies and decided to live there. The Dutch made a fort on the Connecticut River called the House of Good Hope, and the Dutch made it a safe and peaceful place to trade amongst the Europeans and Indians. The people of Plymouth wanted to cut the Dutch off, so they built a fort 1 mile above the House of Good Hope. But the governors of the British colonies did not want to do this, but John Winthrop did, and he sent scouts above the area to watch. Some Pequot Indians killed rivals at Good Hope. Then the Dutch took the Pequot chief hostage, so they demanded a huge sum of wampum, which the Indians did pay, but unfortunately, the Dutch killed the chief anyways. The Pequots retaliated for the killing of their chief by going to a European trade ship and killing the captain of the ship, but the captain was British, not Dutch. The person the Pequots killed was a man named John Stone, a British captain who was a complete scumbag to the British colonies, so he was kicked out later on. The son of the late chief took control of the Pequots. Then he sent diplomats to make a treaty between the two. The Massachusetts Bay Colony demanded the murders of John Stone and 400 fathoms of wampum. The Pequots demanded trade rights and a friendship between the two, and the treaty was successful, but for a time. Later on, the Pequot chief sent diplomats again to the British, and the British demanded the killers of John Stone. And if the requirements were not met, they would annul the older treaty and take revenge against the Pequots. The Pequots still refused to give the killer of John Stone because it was the chief of the Pequots. So the British took revenge on a local village and burned it to the ground. The Pequot chief sent diplomats to Narragansett to form an alliance against the British. But the British sent a person they kicked out of the colony called Roger Williams to prevent the alliance. The Narragansett wished to be neutral and not do anything. During this time, a fort called Saybrook Fort was under siege by the Pequots. A few days after the siege, John Oldham, a Massachusetts Bay Colony tradesman, died in Block Island of the Narragansett Territory. At Wethersfield, a town close to the Connecticut River, an Indian chief was living amongst the Englishmen. They started to treat the chief badly, so he went to the Pequots for help. On April 23, 1637, the Pequots attacked Wethersfield and took 2 women hostage, hoping they know how to make gunpowder. A Dutch ship wanted to go through the Connecticut River, but the English denied them unless they saved two women in the Indian captivity. The Dutch were successful and were able to pass through the Connecticut River. The Puritans decided to go to the Narragansett territory and hoped to get through their land and attack the Pequots from there. The Narragansett agreed and met with a young Indian chief with an army to help the British to attack Fort Mystic. At night, the Puritans invaded Fort Mystic. They split their forces to go into the northeast entrance and the southwest entrance. The Pequots put up a fierce resistance, but the invading forces prevailed. They decided to burn the fort so there would be no survivors. 400 to 700 Pequots were killed. Few survived. This is called the Mystic Massacre. When the Pequots discovered the burnt remains of Fort Mystic, they decided to go after the fleeing British who needed more supplies. And they attacked the British, and the battle was called the Battle of the English Withdrawal. The Pequots lost more than half of their warriors in those two battles. The English eventually won against the Pequots at the Swamp Fight in Fairfield, Connecticut. Thank you for watching and have a good lunch.